Beloved, welcome back to my channel, Simone the Beloved, where I share with you my journey of discovering and exploring what it means to be beloved of Christ, and therefore inviting you to likewise embark on your own journey. So this week I've been talking about seeking the presence of God and how it's so easy to get distracted and all that stuff. And today I just want to talk about like how important it is to just take breaks. Even in your relationship with God, that it's okay to take breaks, that they're actually a good thing to take breaks. So if you've been following me on my social media, then you'll notice like today I actually did something very different. I took some time and just visited my local coffee shop and just spent some time there. It's actually one of my favorite places to be to spend time with God. I often like to just journal at a very busy coffee shop, and the busier the better actually. And really want to actually know, where do you guys like to spend your time with God, and why do you like to spend time there? So, for example, for me, when I'm at a very busy place and I'm journaling there, um, I feel like I am in a zone because of the busyness all around me. It all the more makes me feel like I need to really zoom in and just ask God to help me to tune into what He's saying to me, and tune into what I'm feeling and all that good stuff. So, yeah, maybe that can be activity that you can try out next time, is just carve out some time. It doesn't have to be long. I was just there for an hour this afternoon, where I just sat there and I started by taking out my journal and my pen, and then just asking God to show me, like, what's been on my heart lately, and what has He been trying to speak to me, but that I've not been able to hear because I was too distracted. And lo and behold, like, got some really good conversations flowing because in the midst of all that busyness, it was all the more easier to tune in. So yeah, maybe that works for you. Maybe that doesn't work for you. It's very, we're very different, and I think that's a thing, right? Like uh, spiritual disciplines that we've been traditionally taught. They may work for you, they may not work for you. Everyone's different. We have different personalities, different needs, different communication styles. And instead of getting really hung up on like one thing that's not working for you, it's an invitation to explore and find out more of, like, how to have fun with God, and knowing what works for you. Like, for example, like when I'm studying, I hate having even music on, because like I just music that has lyrics, because that the lyrics is so distracting. But for some reason, being a very busy coffee shop with all the people buzzing around and even TV on and the music on, that can really work well for me when journaling. So that's that. Yeah. So what is a place that you like to get anchored in, and can really help you to block out the distractions and just get into God's presence? So the reason why I'm talking about this is that, like, I'm talking about like why it's important to take breaks, right? Because I want you to imagine this. Um, Being still in the presence of God, it's not natural. But it is something that it's not natural because it's not something that we practice habitually, most of us. And I just want to give you the analogy of like imagining that it's that it's a muscle that you're exercising, the muscle of being still in the presence of God and learning to hear Him well. So just like any other muscle that you're trying to build up, you're at first you're gonna need to take more breaks, and build it up slowly, a little by little. And sometimes, like, we often, because we're not given this analogy, then we often get frustrated and about how come I get distracted during my time with God, and then we're not able to embrace the rest properly. Then therefore the frustration actually becomes an obstacle in abiding in that presence. But when we have the healthy mindset of realizing that, you know what, it's this is a muscle of mine, learning to be still in God, and that I need to have grace and compassion for myself as I'm learning how to do this, then it becomes easier, because then the resistance that came from feeling like, what's wrong with me, why can't I do this, doesn't have to exist. So therefore, that's number one reason of like why it's important to take breaks. It's realizing that you are building a new muscle, right? And like building any other new muscle that you have, you know that you need to take breaks between sets, and you can't just like go all out at once in the very beginning. It's something that you need to build up slowly, little by little, and not to allow that guilt of not achieving whatever goal you set for yourself, or whatever um high attainment you feel like you need to be in order to be a more spiritual person. Yeah, don't let that guilt seep in, and therefore actually causing an obstacle in your relating with God. Another example I want to toss out there to you about why it's so important to take breaks is kind of like grief counseling that I do. For example, when you do grief counseling, you can't really spend the whole complete hour talking about the actual grief, because it's too overwhelming. Can you imagine, like, if all at once it's like poking at this thing that is erupting with so much emotions. It's too much for anyone to handle if you were to actually spend the whole hour sitting in the middle of that, in the enormity of that grief. So in grief counseling, often what happens is that we do create space to for the client to meet with Jesus in the midst of that grief, and to practice how to receive God's love and compassion and healing in that grief. But we don't force the time there to be too long, because we don't want to cause this um because even if it feels okay at the time to feel like, oh yeah, perhaps I can sit here a little bit longer, but what it may actually cause is like a fear afterwards of of going back into these moments with God, because then you start associating that, when I have these moments of God, He's going to take me down into this grief road, and I don't want to be taken down such enormous grief, right? So then we then actually start pushing God away more, and pushing down to grief, and just pretending everything's okay when the grief still needs to be processed. So we need to take breaks during grief counseling, and sometimes talk about other subject matters that God is doing in their life, instead of focusing the whole hour on grief. And that it's not recommended to do it like, so like there needs to be breaks, right? Like there needs to be healthy amount of time in between sessions and all that good stuff. So likewise, sometimes just like I've been saying this past week, that sometimes when we're getting distracted with God is because there's actually a lot of stuff, a lot of guck inside of us that God is revealing to us, that we normally, when we're not spending that time with God, or even being that present with ourselves, we don't normally get a chance to look at. So if we spend time with God and then all that guck is coming out, uh, a lot of times a lot of that guck requires also grief counseling with God. So it's normal to not want to, or actually it's actually healthy to not spend an excessive amount of time in that area for too long, because like I was saying then, or else you might start associating like spending time with God with having to deal with that work, and it may become too overwhelming, and therefore getting you into almost a fear of coming into God's presence, because you're afraid that, what if next time God is inviting me to His presence, we're going to have to do all that work again, and it's not the most comfortable place to be, right? So long story short, what I'm trying to say is that on this journey of seeking God's presence, I think that this is a very rare message, but I just want you to know that it's okay to take breaks, have compassion on yourself, and to know that like it's not a instantaneous thing of like, I'm gonna seek God and I'm gonna get that one relief pill that I'm looking for. It's not about that. It's an ongoing relationship. It's an ongoing venture to dig deeper into who you are, who you're created to be, and then as you're more present with who you are and how you're feeling, how you are growing as an individual, then you can walk with God as that person, instead of everything that you feel, the mask that you've been wearing, or everything that you feel like you have to carry as a person. But all of this is very deep work, and if you're not someone that is not used to that kind of deep work, give yourself compassion to take breaks and do it, space out the sessions that you're having with God, and also the amount of time that you're spending with God in this way. So yeah, I just want to put it out there, like just give yourself grace, right? Like, and don't give yourself judgment, because when you give yourself too much judgment, then actually that is going to create an obstacle. When you have that guilt and shame, then we feel like I can't meet with God right now because I'm just bearing too much guilt and shame and all of that stuff. So today I want to ask you guys, what is your takeaway when you're watching this video today? Just wanted to know, what was the most insightful uh, point, or what shifted in your understanding of what it means to spend time with God through this video. And I also wanted to challenge you this week to find a coffee shop and just sit there and just pay, like, whether you journal or not, just pay attention to, like, okay, God, what am I feeling? Like, what are some of the thoughts that's been burdening me lately? And like, how are you wanting to speak to me? Where are you in this coffee shop right now? How are you being with me right now? So try it out. It may work for you, it may not work for you. And I would love to hear in the comments below, you know, uh, how that was for you, and also like maybe what ideas actually works better for you. And because I like to try new things about how to spend time with God. And yeah. Anyways, so thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope to catch you guys again tomorrow. And if you are interested in going deeper in your relationship with God and understanding what it means to be His beloved and all that good stuff, I just want to invite you guys to go into the description below and find the link or comment below a breakthrough, and I will be happy to give you a free breakthrough session and work out and seeing where God is taking you in His journey of discovering what it means to be His beloved. Anyways, have a great day, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.